Hello and welcome to this tutorial for the card game Barakka. It's for 1 to 2 players only, and you're going to use your memory skills. If you have to rely on the English rulebook, it has a fault in it. I was able to understand the German rules, so if you follow this video, you will play it correctly. I've alerted the publisher, but unfortunately no response so far. I'll be explaining the base game. The game offers multiple variations, but I'm only going to show you the base game. Here's how it goes. You are going to play until this deck is empty. When there are no more cards to take from here, the game is over and you start counting points. Whoever has the most points wins the game. What you get points for, I'll explain in a moment. First, let me tell you what you're trying to do during the game. There are 5 different colors, and the cards have numbers on them, 1 through 5. You're going to make rows of these cards, 1 row per color. You are trying to get at least 1 card with a 1, and then get as many following numbers as you can. So you're trying to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you play the game, you don't have to place them in order. You can do it like this: 3, 5, 2, 1, 4. This is fine, because then at the end of the game you do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's what gives you the most points. You can also have 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 1, 2, 3. It's less points, but at least it's a perfect sequence. You won't be getting a lot of points if you have 1, 2, 4, 5. That's not perfect, so you will only be getting points for 1, 2. But this is what you're trying to do. Now, what do you do when it's your turn? Very simple. You pick up a card and drop a card. That's it. Take a card, drop a card. First, how do you take a card? You always have 3 places to choose from. You can take a card from the deck, this one. It's face down, so you don't know what you're going to get. Or you take a card from the discard pile, or this discard pile. There are no special rules, this is it. When it's your turn, start taking one card from here, or here, or here. Next, drop a card. You either drop it on one of the discard piles. Again, no rules for which one you choose, it's up to you. Or you drop your card in one of the rows in front of you. If you do, place it slightly under the card that you put it on. That way you can see how many cards you have, but you can't see the numbers of the other cards, because you'll have to remember this. It's a memory game. You're never allowed to look at which numbers you already have. Let me repeat that. When it's your turn, first, take a card from here, or here, or here. Then place that card somewhere on one of your own rows, or place that card on one of the discard piles. Of course, taking a card from here and then putting it there, that's not allowed. You can only discard a card if you took it from the deck. Keep in mind that you have to place your cards like this. You have to see how many cards you have, but you can't see the numbers on the cards that were already there. Use your memory. Some important details. There are cards that don't have a number on them. These are wild cards, jokers. You can have 1 of these per row. At the end of the game, this joker card will count as the number that you don't have. In addition to that, it will also be worth extra bonus points. So try to have a joker card in every row that you make. Another important detail. Your row of cards can't be longer than 5 cards. That's the maximum. 5 cards per row. As soon as you place your 5th card, you have to place one of these tiles on it. You can't add anything else to this row. At the end of the game, you get bonus points for these tiles. You now know everything there is to know on how to play Barakka. You keep going until this deck is empty, then you get points. You're supposed to make perfect sequences starting with the number 1 and try to get all the way up to 5. When it's your turn, take a card from here, here or here, and then drop that card onto one of your rows. Place it like this. Or in case you took it from the deck, you can instead discard on one of the 2 discard piles. 5 cards per row is the limit, and then you place the token on it. Cards without numbers are wild cards, jokers. You can have 1 per row. Tokens and joker cards give you bonus points at the end of the game. So, finally, scoring. How do you score points when the game is over? First, you start by getting all the points for your cards, row by row. Pick up all the cards and place them in order, because when you play the game, you don't have to put the numbers in order. You do that now, at the end. You can take out the rulebook that shows you how to score the points. Here. Go row by row and take points for them one by one. If you need to, write it down. Next, some bonus points for these tokens. You place them on your row as soon as it's 5 cards. You get as many points for these tokens as in how many you have. So for example, if you have 4 of these tokens, each token is worth 4 points. That would be 16 bonus points in total. And the last thing you get bonus points for are the jokers, the wild cards. You get as many points for one joker as how big the sequence of the row was. For example, if you made 1, 2, 3, this counts as a 3, and 4. You made a sequence of 4, so the joker card is worth 4 points. Then do this for the other rows where you also have a joker in it, and get those points too. So, at the end of the game, you score points for the sequence in every row, one at a time, points for your tokens, and points for your jokers. Feel free to consult the rulebook for this, and try to find a strategy. If you're only going to focus on yourself and the other player does too, you can easily both end up having the same top score. You need to try to block the other player by taking cards that she or he needs. In any case, you now know how to play Barakka. It looks very nice. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching and see you for the next one.